Assalamu alaikum to everyone. This is Clifton Raheem Bradley of Underground Railroad Podcast. And this is a live show. And good morning, good afternoon, good night, whenever you're looking at this broadcast. And what we're going to do today is tonight we're going to talk about news and how some of the news in the United States have manipulated a whole lot of people, and you know what? They do not really tell you what is really going on about global issues. And my guests show up, and you got Brother Lonnie Lewis. I'm waiting on him to come in. But what subject matters that we are going to cover? We're going to cover the Ukraine. We're going to cover Cuba. We're going to cover the presidential candidate, and we're going to cover Israel and Palestine. And you know what? And we're going to cover current events. That is what we're going to cover. But you know what? We must not forget the past. We have to know about the past to remember our future. We'll be taking calls. Who knows? The call thing may work. It may work because you know what, and I just may have to just relay the question over there. And you're more than welcome to join our chat room. And like I said, but I do a show that comes on every Saturday night in Chicago, but it comes on YouTube 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. And just waiting on Brother Lonnie Lewis to come on. He is a researcher, and you know what? He has authentic information. Okay, and you know what? I love to be around. I love to be around people that are smart. You know what? Because it just may rub off on me, and there's so many global issues that are going on from the U.S. economy, from them raising the debt ceiling. And the thing is, I feel that you know what, we will never be in the USA will never be able to pay off the debt. And in Africa, that we know that by looking at the news that China is buying up Africa. They're buying it up, and you know what? And they modernize it. There was an interview with Tucker Carlson, and he interviewed Vladimir Putin. And you know what? We're going to sit down and we're going to analyze some of the things that he said. That I think they're pertinent. So just waiting on Brother Lonnie Lewis to come on. And once he comes on, we get down.
Hey, Brother Clifton, can you hear me?
I hear you, brother. Assalamu alaikum, brother.
Wa alaikum salam. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. Let me introduce my guests, okay? This brother is Lonnie Lewis. He is a researcher. He's a researcher, okay? And he's in the United States in Chicago, Illinois, okay? And this brother he went to Simeon High School, and he was a great basketball player, but you know what? But he got on a scholarship. He went to a major university. Okay, what's that? In Wisconsin, Kenosha. Let me see if I'm getting it right. And you know, I slipped the name of the university. He went to University of Western Parker.
No, okay. University of Wisconsin-Parkside. It's in the Wisconsin university system. Just like Illinois State, et cetera, the Chicago State or whatever, that's, state universities.
Mm-hmm. And he was not drafted, although he was not drafted by the NBA. Okay. He played for 20 years in Europe. And he traveled to Europe and he saw different places like Rome, Italy, France, okay, and all of these great things. He is a researcher. He lived overseas in Europe for 26 years. 26 years. That's a long time. Not only did he play basketball, he's ferocious when it came to studying. He believes in education, and you know what he said when he was abroad, he did not understand all the things and misconceptions that were going on in the news in the United States of America. And you know what? I'm gonna he have a video up right now of him talking about global things on the website. But brother, I want to thank you, brother, for accepting the invitation to come on the Underground Railroad podcast. I hope that you hear me clearly. If not, I will make the adjustments.
I hear you clearly, and I appreciate the invite. I'm always here for you, brother, because it's a lot of things we got to discuss, a lot of things that need to take place, and this is the platform for it.
Mm-hmm. And brother, it started in high school. Let me ask you something about high school and something about high school. You went to Simeon High School. Did you play with a brother named what's his name? Benjamin. Forgot his name. He was a great player that was going to be drafted. Benji.
No, I was there before him. I actually, my generation, I say my generation, I was there from, my stories is I dropped out of Freeman High School, didn't like him, didn't like the coach, didn't like nobody. And a brother named Michael Cox, who was, I believe, an instructor or teacher at South Shore, used to play with us, saw me playing. I used to play in the YMCA. He asked me one day how old I was, was I in school? No, no, no. He got in touch with Simeon, got back with me, sent me over there. End of story. I started Simeon, came on my junior year. Then my senior year start. Got a lot of different scholarship offers from universities around the world, or around America, excuse me. And I took my talents to University of Wisconsin-Parkside in Kenosha, Wisconsin. After that, my career, I got a couple of letters from Detroit, etc., but nothing materialized in the NBA, so I went overseas. Started out Austria, France, Italy, Spain, back to France again.
Mm-hmm. You have a lot of accolades, but the main thing is he's a researcher. And what happened is he utilized the time. He utilized it. Brother, I'd like to ask you, as you was overseas playing for those 20 something years, yeah, I'd like to ask you, what is, first of all, I'd like to start asking, what is the difference in terms of the culture of Europe in the United States of America? What is the difference?
Well, the when you look at it from a historical standpoint, the Europeans came from Europe to America, Australia, etc. The difference today, okay, if we put that into perspective,
Mm-hmm.
is the quality and the standard of living,
Mm-hmm.
which is higher than what we have here.
Mm-hmm.
For example, cosmetics, medicine, um, uh, food, crops, the beef, or whatever, you cannot put artificial ingredients. For example, to grow the food, fast or whatever, or to grow the chickens, fatten them up, or the beef.
Mm-hmm.
It's against the ECC laws. It's guaranteed pure by the ECC. So first of all, you're eating quality stuff.
Mm-hmm.
On Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, you have the outdoor markets where you're getting fresh dairy products. You're getting fish straight from the
Wow.
sea, the Mediterranean. Everything you get is fresh. You're getting the fruits, the oranges, the tangerines directly from Morocco, which is not too far. So you're getting the
Mm-hmm.
quality food. The clothing is quality clothing. The lifestyle. I'm gonna give you
Mm-hmm.
an example. Here
Mm-hmm.
in America, you on vacation, right? You work.
Yes.
You have vacation, right? You
Yes.
get 1, maybe 2 weeks off if you're lucky. Paid, maybe,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe, I believe the majority of that is unpaid. Europe, and not just in France, but all of Europe, they work 40 hours first and foremost. You get a month vacation, paid.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Your wife has a child over there. You're paid. They give you money for the child. For example,
Mm-hmm.
for the birth of a child, whatever it is, three to $1,500, $1,000, whatever it is, getting paid. Your wife is you're getting money for the child.
Mhm.
I had universal health care since 1980. That's the second thing. I got
Wow.
sick my first year in Austria. I caught a cold or whatever. I was taking a big old tablet, man, it looked like a horse tablet. I was
Wow.
supposed to had only been taking one. I was taking two and developed an allergic reaction.
Wow.
My face, my arms, they broke out. It's like a rash and it's a scaly rash. I looked like the Gill man. Okay.
Mhm.
They took me to the hospital. Didn't have to pay anything. Universal health care. I mean,
Mhm.
they've had it in Europe um, a long time. So when they were arguing and bickering here about
Yeah.
universal health care, I'm like, what's the problem?
Yes.
And the problem is, once they finally installed it,
Mhm.
you didn't have a pattern. So you made mistakes. How do you charge people $500, $600 if they don't have health insurance? It's not how it
Yes.
works. If I'm somebody that doesn't know how to make a suit, or I'm not a seamstress or a tailor. If I want
Mhm.
to do it on an amateur basis, I have to have a pattern, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
You get a pattern and you follow that. It may not be perfect, but
Mhm.
with practice, it becomes better. You become better. We didn't follow the patterns that were already there. Canada, France, Cuba got
Mhm.
universal health care.
Yes.
You
Yes.
see, so they messed all of that up. And
Mm.
the difference, like I said, is the standard and the quality of living. A homeless person, a bum,
Mhm.
don't like to use that terminology, can get universal health care there. We're here. You see how it has evolved.
Yes.
Ehrlichman, one of Nixon's aides, you heard of permanent Kaiser Permanente,
Mm. Mm.
the HMO. Before it was just Kaiser. They were directed straight for
You
the
say
U.S. military.
HMO or GMO?
Excuse me.
You say HMO or GMO?
No, HMO. The
Okay.
healthcare system.
Oh, okay.
HMO, the healthcare system that they have in place here.
Okay. Okay.
That was designed by Kaiser, Mr. Kaiser, and later on, as the years went by, it became Kaiser Permanente.
Mhm.
Erickman went to Nixon and told him, he said, "Look, I have somebody that wants to install a new healthcare system. Blah this, blah that.
Mhm.
What's the deal?" Well, we shorten the beds in the
Yes.
hospitals. We get them in
Yes.
and out. Remember, a woman a pregnant woman stay in the hospital if she needed 3 days, a week, or whatever before she went home. They shortened the
Yes.
stay,
Yes.
increased, decreased the beds, increase the prices, make sure that everybody can get enrolled in these programs, and
Yes.
it'll be very lucrative. Nixon say,
Universal.
okay, the next day it was signed into law.
Mhm.
And
Brother, and that's a beautiful thing. Universal health care. I like to ask you. You know what you say when you played basketball for 20 years in Europe. You said that you studied, you went to museums, you went to libraries, you were already educated anyway. But when you studied this and you looked at looked at the news after you did your research, how did you how did you first come to the understanding that people that look at Fox News, CNN, Channel 9, and Channel 7, that there were misconceptions and things that were being withheld from the public in the United States of America? I like to, know, how did you come to that conclusion?
well, the it was a rude awakening. I mean, it was a shock. I was in a state of shock. I had a chance to deal with some Vietnamese people in France at a restaurant. They asked me, was I American, etc. We started talking. They asked me, was I a soldier? I said no. Um, then I told them I played basketball, and they made me aware of certain things that were going on during the Vietnamese War, which they were survivors of. That shocked me, and with that, I was in a state of shock for about 6 months because I never believed that this country was capable of doing some of the things that I was hearing, and it made me start doing a lot of research to find out not only what's going on here, but who I am, and that led me to go to different every time we travel, you know, we in Europe you have what you call you play in it's the Euro League, the European League. It's now called
Yes.
the Euro League, where
Yes.
some of the top teams you. I might leave France. I might go to Germany. I might go to Bucharest, Romania. I might go to Kiev in Ukraine. I might be in Moscow. I might in different cities around. You play against different teams. It's a competition,
Hmm.
and you advance as you win, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes.
So this gave me an insight into some of the people of the world, how they live, and some of the things I was in Eastern Europe during and after communism, and so I had a firsthand experience of dealing with the people there and seeing certain things that let me know that some of the falsehoods they were spreading about Russia and different other countries and this and that and how they was this, how they were that, it wasn't so.
Give us
And
some example. Give us some examples uh, of misconceptions that you did have. Just some examples of the misconceptions that Americans have. And can
well,
you give us a few?
you know, America is like I was saying on one of the other shows. It's considered the lighthouse of the world. You see what
Hmm.
I'm saying? Where everybody looks to America for this, they look to America for that.
Yeah.
America is projected of image, not only of superiority and greatness and all that, but it's a place where everybody wants to come.
Hmm.
You know, so my travels showed me some of the things they were saying about Russia during communism and this and that,
Hmm.
how the people were, how they hated us, and you know, all these things that were being said about other countries, and they were to deter you from going there, or don't be this, don't blah this, blah that. They were all misconceptions, and some of the ways I saw that people from different areas or countries were treated or you know denigrated by us, and I found that it wasn't true. And it was an
Wow.
eye-opening, hurtful, painful experience because I consider myself a person who loved my country, and it's not that I don't love the country, but it's that my eyes are opening to those that are running the country.
What,
It's
what,
not
what
the
was
American
what,
people.
yeah, what was tell us some historical not historic current news events that differentiated between what they told on the American news opposed to the European news.
Well,
And
for example, I'm gonna give you a hardcore example. First of all, the news is, as you know, is dissected and piecemealed out to you. They
yeah,
allow you to see or hear or know what they want you to see, hear, or know. Europe, for example, during the Iraqi war in 2003,
yes,
um, I saw an emission, or they call it an emission. I saw an interview, 30-minute interview with an Iraqi doctor,
hmm,
and they was asking him, you know, in America we go by BC body count. There,
yes,
how many people were killed, and the man was crying.
wow,
I can't tell you because I may be among them. But at the
yeah,
same time, he pointed the interviewer
yes,
to the back of the hospital where they had about 50 to maybe 75 refrigerator trucks, each
hmm,
filled with bodies. And I was, what could I say? And I'm seeing this. And I'm looking at, I'm seeing CNN. I get international news there. I'm
hmm,
looking at CNN, and
yes,
I'm looking at the dissection of the news, and I'm looking at how they give you certain things and segments they want you to see, but they keep the rest away from you. They systematically dumbing us down to what's really going on to keep projecting the image of greatness. And it didn't fly with me because when you see things like this and it's coming from the country that you were born in and that you loved and respected, and you start to see who they really are. It's not the country, it's
yes,
who's running the country. And
yes,
that's most people around, they don't hate the American people. they hate those running the government, those people that they put in power.
You know, when you talk about the people that are empowered, then I'm going to go to Reagan after this. When you talk about the people that genuinely empower, is it the president that runs the nation out? Is there a shadow government that controls the majority of things of substance that go on within the United States of America and abroad? And can you elaborate on that?
Well, when you look at it, um, and as we talked about before on your show, we just look at the structure of the government. I'm not talking about judicial or legislative branch and all. I'm talking about the people that have been elected, the people that are in the government.
Hmm.
And then you look at American foreign policy. You
Hmm.
not don't have one official in the United States government that I've seen capable of creating a foreign policy. It's
Yes,
it's it's a shamble. When you have think tanks,
yes,
APAC, the American Enterprise Institute, and
yes,
Hudson Institute, different other think tanks and organizations that are
yes,
directing your foreign policy,
yes.
that's a problem there because they're going to direct it in the direction they want it to go. And they place people in power that are going to follow their directives. And this is why we have the situation of when America's at war with here, America's in conflict with there, and this and that. Who's running the government? Because the people that the faces we see it, they sure not.
So there's a shadow government. So in that shadow government, would you say that there are now? This might be over because you are a researcher. Would you say that there are powerful families that run the United States of America? Would you say as a corporation? What can you elaborate on that? And what is their mission?
You have a few entities. You got to deal with, the military and industrial complex. You got to deal with these think tanks. You have to deal with politicians. Follow the money. Where
Mhm.
were they educated? Who money backs them? Take, for example, Nikki Haley. Her
Yes.
husband is a reservist in the
And Nikki Haley,
South.
for people that are looking at this overseas, she was a Republican candidate for president of the United States in 2024. And Donald Trump, she's on the one less. But go ahead. Huh?
Her husband is reservist in the South Carolina National. I think he's in Africa somewhere right now.
Hmm.
She receives money from APAC. She receives money from the military industrial complex, and this is why when you see her, she's talking warlike. Here's a woman with no experience in any field, as far as war or international things are concerned, and she was just U.S. envoy to the UN.
Yes.
And following her predecessors and even the sister now, as I listen to them speak, I listen to the untruth and misconceptions that they speak about different countries, and the rhetoric continues, and they feed this to the American people. And but this lets you know who's running it. Yeah, they're not running it; they're figureheads. America hasn't had a president, I don't believe, since Kennedy.
Yes.
And it's 60, 70 some years ago almost.
Mm.
Because for the simple fact that as you know, during the late 60s, early 70s, a lot of Democrats
Hmm.
started becoming neoconservatives.
Yes.
And so now you have them in both parties. A neocon is a neocon, whether he's a Republican or a Democrat. Okay, and these are the people that they've placed in power. These are the people that give us these misconceptions and lies about different countries around the world, and the lies about we are protecting American interests with 800 military bases around the world. You tell me, what are you protecting? It's not American interests. It's more like outposts.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Pax Romana when the Roman Empire, when they had, outposts all around the world, the British Empire, the same thing, and they all collapsed. So what we think is going to happen here, you see.
Well, when we talk about Russia, I would like to ask you something about Cuba. Okay, and then I'm going to go to Russia. I would like to ask you why was the government of the United States so intense on eliminating Fidel Castro after, when he visited the United Nations and even gave a attempted to give poison cigars to him. And I would like for you, I want to know why, because Cuba used to be the playground of gangsters in the United States of America and around the world. Can you elaborate on that?
Well, first and foremost, you got to deal with the Cuban Revolution. You had Batista, who was
Okay.
the general strongman president of Cuba. He allowed that to go in, to go on. You got to look at, you know, the mob. Myers Lansky.
Mm-hmm.
Were there, and Lucky Luciano ran operations from Italy. He
Yes.
was kicked out of America during the 40s.
Yes.
The problem why they hated Castro was because Castro was for his people. His
Yeah.
people were being exploited. This was what was going on. They were inviting the mobsters and
Yeah.
certain Cubans who had money, the rich ones, those who fled to Miami, with Little Havana right now. These
Yes.
are the ones that was against Castro because they were having young ladies come off the farms, enticing them. We're going to give you jobs as cleaners. We're going to make you models. We're going to make you secretaries, etc. Taking these young ladies and turning them into prostitutes for
Yes.
the American tourists that came over. It's a gambling capital. They had some
Mm-hmm.
of the most famous nightclubs, and it was a playground of the rich. When Castro came to power, Batista fled.
Yes.
Those who were with him, the elite Cubans who were now in Florida, the anti-Castros who tried the Bay of Pigs, they were behind this.
Mm-hmm.
It was because, first of all, the mob was hot. They met
Yeah.
with Castro on a golf course, invited him to his own country at the golf course.
Mm-hmm.
Fidel, we're going to continue doing what we do. Boom, here goes a suitcase.
Mm-hmm.
You know, thousand, a
Mm-hmm.
million, or whatever it was in the suitcase. He looked at it, he gave it back to him. Said, "Look, um, you got 72 hours to leave my country."
Wow.
They gave him some lip. You have 24 hours to leave my country.
Mm-hmm.
The mob was funneling millions from
Wow.
the casinos and their businesses to Florida and throughout the hookup, the mobs in Louisiana, so wherever they were, New York, Australia, Cali. They hot because now you losing a lucrative playground of the
Mm-hmm.
rich where you ran it. You don't run it
Yeah.
no more. Here you have a man who loves his people. All those people that left, they were hot because they were involved in the money making schemes that were depriving the people of their rights, as legal citizens to do what they do and live. You understand? So this is why they hated him. And because the second reason was because America wasn't going to help him.
Yeah.
Russia helped us in Africa when
Mm-hmm.
nobody else would help us for our struggle for independence in the 60s.
Yes.
Russia helped Cuba by giving them fuel and keeping them alive when America had embargoes and sanctions and everything else. One question nobody never asked: what did Cuba do to America to
Yes.
deserve to be treated the way that they treated the people of Cuba? Nothing. The
Mm.
mobsters, the politicians, the rich Cubans who were now in Florida and different other parts of America who became the anti-Castrists
Yes.
were hot because their lucrative adventures and ventures, I should
Yeah.
say, stopped. Now, did he make mistakes? Yes, he made mistakes. He admitted he made mistakes. Later on, certain people he executed certain this and that, and he admitted his mistakes. But
Mm-hmm.
sometimes revolutions, when change occurs, mistakes are made.
Mm-hmm.
But he's there for his people, and that's why they hated this man all these years. And they wanted to kill him.
Mm-hmm. You know, speaking of that, and you know what, I'm going to go to Ronald Reagan next. I would like to ask you this: when Khrushchev made the decision to put missiles in Cuba, but he was strongly opposed by Kennedy in the United States of America.
Mm-hmm.
Why is Russia was not opposed when allies of the United States system that almost surround Russia was not opposed, but Kennedy was opposed. Can you elaborate on that? Because they were saying, I dare you put missiles with the Cuban missile crises in our hemisphere, but they had missiles around Europe. Can you explain that to me?
Well, when you look at it, they um, America was going to give Cuba back to the mob
Okay.
if the Bay of Pigs invasion in '62 had went down like they planned. Um, then they would have invaded Cuba with the anti-Castros, those who hated Castro. They had divisions formed in Louisiana. They were training them. The whole South Florida campus
Mm-hmm.
was a CIA installation with over 3,000 dummy businesses that was
Mm-hmm.
creating, funds and stuff like that, and training the anti-Castros,
Mm-hmm.
And so, when it happened, Kennedy was supposed to have gave them air cover. The
Mm-hmm.
last moment he declined, and
Mm-hmm.
so Castro dealt with the people at the beach, and that ended that right there. Now, as far as Russia putting the missiles there, that was a warning. That was a warning because, as you know, there's two systems: communism and capitalism.
Well,
You see the
I would like to pose to you if the American news system, which I love, is so forthcoming. Why didn't they point out there were weapons in Europe that were leaned towards Russia? I'd like to ask you, why didn't American news media point out that? I would like to ask you.
Can you repeat that?
Why I would like to ask you, why didn't American news media point out,
Mm-hmm.
hey, you know what, there are weapons from the United States and NATO that are pointed at Russia right now?
Mm-hmm.
Why weren't they fair and balanced and put that out to understand it? Can
Well,
you explain that to me?
you know as well as I do, it's a controlled show. Who controls the United States media? Who controls the media worldwide? The
Yes.
same people. And at the same time, Russia is the largest country in the world. So they've been trying to dismantle and break up Russia since after World War II,
Yes.
and it's a fear in them of an economically strong, an independent country that doesn't bow down to the United States. You have three
Xenophobia.
countries,
Okay.
four countries. You got China, you got Russia, you got South Africa, who's
Mm-hmm.
catching flack right now because they
Mm-hmm.
put the genocide case against Israel. Now you got U.S. lawmakers
Mm-hmm.
trying to put pressure on South Africa,
Mm-hmm.
penalize and punish them for speaking up.
Mm-hmm.
They lived through apartheid, so they know what apartheid is. And
Mm-hmm.
then you have to deal with the hidden agenda of certain people who
Yes.
want to demonize Putin, want to demonize Russia. Ever since we were little, they lied to us about Russia. They lied to us about Africa. They running around butt naked riding zebras, and you know what I mean. They don't have infrastructure. They poor. They raggedy, but they got all the resources in the world. So this all of this is by design to keep, you understand what the problem is, to keep America in the forefront and relevant as we the world leader. But at the same time, it's losing its power. It's losing its grip because more and more countries are fatigued of the fact that they are under the boot of this country.
Mm. So you're saying that the news media that we Americans believe that it is fair and balanced. You're
Mhm.
saying that it's not. Wait a minute. If I got it wrong, correct me.
If you're right, but check this out. Why are they after Julian Assange? Why do they want to prosecute and kill and torture this man and keep him in prison? And why? Why? Collateral murder. He didn't film that. The United States Army did. He
Yes.
didn't. Somebody gave that to him. He published this to show that despite what America say they doing, the lies and the
Yes.
things that you have your military doing to other people, that was a great embarrassment. The pedestrian emails from Hillary Clinton, he published that. That was an embarrassment to Hillary Clinton. You know, all the wrongdoing people that anytime that you point something out about this country that they don't want to be known, you become an enemy of this country. It's the same thing with Russia and Putin. They want to demonize. This man loves his country. Back in 2000, before he became president, they tried to put Russia back in the Stone Age.
Wow.
This man loved his country. He brought them back economically. Russia was in 89 when the Berlin Wall fell. Russia was on the brink of destruction. Scientists was leaving. They were stealing nuclear armaments and stuff like that. The Russian mob was coming to New York and Chicago, as you see them now,
Yes.
because the Soviet Union was broke up. It was just Russia. And so from 90 to 2000, a 10-year period when Putin came to power, this man started and his
Go.
people
Mhm.
economically and financially back into prominence. And they hate that because their whole desire was to destroy this country, as they have been capable of doing other countries around the world.
For people that are just tuning into this show, we're talking about current events. We're talking about China, Russia. We're going to talk about the presidential campaign, but now we're concentrating on Russia. Tucker Carlson did an interview, but I'm going to go to Ronald Reagan right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and this brother that's on is a researcher. He's just not talking to be talking. He's been all throughout Europe and all that, and beautiful bio. And I'm going to share that information so you can have him on your platform. Okay,
Okay.
because what he has to say is it's newsworthy, and you know what? People abroad in America need to know. Um, Brother Lonnie, I'd like to ask you that in when Reagan made an agreement with Gorbachev, I forgot the year. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
when Reagan made the statement, President Reagan, President President Reagan made the statement, "Tie down these walls." Okay, there
Mm-hmm.
was an agreement. Okay, I got to check on the agreement that no countries that annexed are separated from the Soviet Union could join NATO.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like to ask you, was that a bilateral agreement? Because I remember them signing something on that table. And if you
Mm-hmm.
can let me know your perspective about that.
It was a signed agreement between the United States of America. I think it was James Baker, who was the Secretary of State, I believe, whatever his position was. He was the one that was responsible for that.
Mm-hmm.
The deal was this: you allow the reunification of Germany, and we won't move an inch further east, which was
Yes.
a lie. Which was a lie. NATO
Mm-hmm.
hit Poland. NATO hit Latvia. Estonia, the rest of the Baltic states. You look Poland, Latvia, and all that. That's in the Baltic Sea area. So those are Baltic states,
Mm-hmm.
and they tried to expand to Georgia. They tried to. The Ukraine was the last straw. You
Yes.
already got Russia surrounded with NATO. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
now you're trying to get Ukraine, and the deal with that was the president, who was the president of Ukraine in 2014, before he was uh, overthrown, which was a coup d'etat
Okay.
sponsored by you know who. Um, he looked at the deal with the EU, the European Union, which wanted
Yes.
badly Ukraine to join.
Yes.
And he looked at the things, and he looked at his situation with Russia. We do trading with Russia. We're doing a lot of things here, this and that, which is good. And the quotas and the things you imposing on us if we join the EC uh, won't be that cool. So he said, let me think about it. When he said, let me think about it,
Mm-hmm.
that's when Maidan Square started. Because at the NATO, I mean, after you enter the EC, the European Union, then the next step would be you joining NATO. They've been trying to get Ukraine to join NATO since 2006, but they don't tell you that in the American news. And
Mm-hmm.
that was because they wanted to put missiles and stuff close to Russia. As Putin said in his interview, they have developed a hypersonic missile, which is capable of hitting here 15 minutes, obliterate Washington if need be. These are defensive measures. He said, we don't attack nobody. And there's nobody throughout all the lies and misconceptions about Russia, nobody has ever asked the question, what has Russia done to Europe? What has Russia done to America? They lied and said they interfered with the election. It was proven last year, I believe, that it was a hoax. They couldn't find nothing to connect Russia with interference in the election. It was a bitter Hillary Clinton who lost, and in order to, you know, glorify herself or whatever you want to call it, it's the
Yeah.
fault of Russia. Anything goes on in the world, it's the fault of Russia. You impose sanctions on Russia. The grains can't go to where they got to go, to the farmers here in America, to the farmers in Europe, and to the people who are starving in Africa. But you say it's Russia's fault because they're weaponizing food. Russia didn't impose sanctions on itself. And I'm not a a
Yes.
Russophile. I'm not a lover of Russia. Let me get that clear. You
Yeah.
know, I respect countries that I've been to and visited, and I've lived among the people and seen the people, and I understand who they are. And you can't tell me that they this and they that when I've been there.
But when you said that Ronald Reagan, when he made the statement, tied down those walls,
Mm-hmm.
you're saying that he was not genuine. And when they started to put weapons in countries that were close to Russia and
Yeah,
China,
NATO, the
okay,
NATO expansion.
why didn't the U.S. news media point that out? Because they like to say that we thoroughly investigate and make the people, well, what is the reason? And did Ronald Reagan, did the United States and Reagan look at Gorbachev, the president of Russia, as being a weak man for making an agreement?
Yeah, where you know, Russia had a lot of pressure. You know, first of all, he installed glasnost,
Mm-hmm.
which glasnost in Russian means you know, change. They were putting in implementing different things, you know, to make Russia not pro or more Western, but to give their people different advantages, et cetera, like you have here in the Western world.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Petrostroka and Glasnost. Those are two things that came from him, which was the opening up of Russia to the West for the benefit of the Russian people. But that agreement, which was made, which was never published by the United States government, they're not going to tell you what they're doing. You got to look at back during the Cold War from 45 until 90. Well, it's still going on because you got Cold Warriors here in America that still hate Russia for unknown reasons, you know. that when all of that was going on, you had Radio Free America, you had Voice of America, you had different American things ran by the CIA, ran by the American Endowment Program to show that they spread throughout the world, the Democratic endowment programs that they're not going to tell you what they are doing because it's a clandestine operation, you know.
Yes.
Violently and in concealment, they were plotting to destroy Russia. And that was the whole goal of, first of all, putting the former Soviet satellites into
Yes.
NATO. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
And to surround and weaken Russia. And when this thing bust out here, or with the thing with Ukraine, that was another thing to try to weaken and you know um, break up Russia. You know,
Mhm.
these are strong people. It's not denigrating us. We strong people here in America. The people. I'm not talking about the government. I'm talking about the people, everyday coming people in America.
Mhm.
Us
Let
just
me ask you:
living.
did they perceive this? Did they perceive Gorbachev as being the president of Russia? Gorbachev as being a fool and being a weak, being a very weak man for signing that bilateral agreement, and said that they had intentions and knew that they was going to take advantage of that anyway through manipulation. Did they perceive him as a fool?
Well, they first of all, he wasn't a lean. You know, he was former KGB too, so he was a learned man. What he saw going on, he was trying to bring his country into the future. They were still a communist country, but they was trying to bring he was trying to bring his country into the future, into the 20th century, so to speak, 21st
Hmm.
century. And so mistakes were made because you can't trust the devil. He would tell you anything. He will present you. He will gift you. He will love you. He will cherish you. And in the end of the day, he's the one stabbing you in the back. And you like, this man close to me. How did this happen? And that's what they done. They didn't consider him weak or this and that. They used the fact that Russia was going through changes and things were going on, and they capitalized like they do in everything they do in the world.
As you know, as you being, when you know what, when you were overseas, what was the reaction in the reality of the people that were in Europe that were watching this? Did the people in Europe think believe that it was genuine about this
Yes,
agreement?
they did. They did because you had to look. I was in Europe since from 1980 until 2006, and I returned home.
Hmm.
I was there when the Berlin Wall fell. When we had to go, sometimes when I was in Austria or whatever country I played in, if we took
Hmm.
a bus to a road game, we European League Cup game, we had to pass through Germany. We had to go through what they call Checkpoint Charlie, going
Yeah.
into Eastern Europe. You see, so we had to pass through Eastern Germany, which was controlled
Yes.
by Eastern Germany was a communist satellite.
Yes.
Okay, they had to they police their secret police or the secret service called the Stasi followed you everywhere you went.
Hmm.
So when that wall fell, it for the Europeans it was a sign of relief. Called we ain't got to worry about Russia doing us. Okay, because Russia had missiles and everything pointing at Europe just like they had pointed here. And if anything got crazy, they was ready to deal. And America knew that they were both spying on each other.
Hmm.
So
I, in what I like to ask you is that when the United States first violated that agreement,
mhm.
why did the Russians object, uh, protest when they started to surround them with weapons? What is the reason when they first did it, they did not strongly object and say that the agreement is being broken? This is wrong. What is the reason?
Well, they did it clandestinely. Russia wasn't aware until it was happening. You got to realize certain Russian satellites hated Russia. You had Hungary, you had Poland. Those close to Russia hated Russia because they were up under the communist system.
Okay.
They had no choice. Russia did that because at the World War II, when they saw what America and England was planning to do, they made everything around them. All them countries around them, you're going to be communist. You ain't got no say so. Boom, that's it. You see, so these countries who were, plus, at the World War II, you had certain countries that were still intact. America had everything intact.
Yes.
Europe was in tatters. Russia lost 25 million people during the war, more than
Yes.
any other country, more than those lost during World War II.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so Russia, and at the same time, Russia was weak. You
Okay.
see, they were, coming out of different periods and this in time. We could say bad leadership or whatever, but Russia didn't have the unity that they have now to deal with the expansion and say no, blah this and blah this and blah that. You see,
Mm-hmm.
now it's a whole different story.
Would you say that the United States? I love the United States. Would you say they have demonstrated they will break a treaty? Would you say that the invasion of Ukraine is just or unjust? I'm asking you because they signed the agreement with Reagan and Gorbachev that no country that annexed from the Soviet Union out of USSR at that time to join NATO. Would you say because of these violations and them being surrounded by missiles that they are saying, you know what, it appears as though we're being surrounded and NATO was the last straw and it's either we fight now or fight later on. Can you elaborate on that?
Well, see, as I said, it was done clandestinely, and those countries that were, some of them didn't appreciate, being up under the communist system, and that the fall of the Berlin Wall led to the collapse of the communist system.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, first and foremost. So now you looking at America and the money they've given to Poland and these other countries, and we're going to install this, we're going to install that, and
Mm-hmm.
so when that happened, as I said, Russia, it was a surprise, and at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, because they, took for face value the agreement that was made, and they were too weak militarily to deal with America because
Mm-hmm.
it was a lot going on. It was a lot going on, and they didn't want to start a World War III, especially in Europe. So
But
it was a
I'm
lot of
at,
things going on.
what I'm asking you is, do you believe that Russia has come to the conclusion that we are being surrounded by NATO and their armament, and Ukraine is the last straw? We would totally be surrounded. We have to fight now, fight later on. Is that you could elaborate on that?
Yeah, that and that's it in a nutshell. Ukraine was the last straw. You want to put missiles from NATO right next door to me, which, and Putin explained it in his interview that they are brothers.
Yes,
Ukraine was Russia. You
yes.
see, from its inception, when the state of Ukraine was first created, before all of that was Russia.
Mm-hmm.
You see, so they practice the same religion.
Mm-hmm.
He even made a statement. He said when they had Ukrainian troops surrounded and told them to surrender, you know what the
Mm-hmm.
Ukrainian troops told them? We Russians, we don't surrender.
Mm-hmm.
You understand that right
I
there?
understand.
That
Yes.
so the thing is, all these things that you've done in Ukraine, and the lies you've told since 2014 are coming back to haunt you right now. He didn't want to go in Ukraine, but he was not going to let them continue to massacre the people in southeastern Ukraine, known as the Donbass region, because these people are ethnic Russians. They are of Russian origin. And that's when he drew the line. And
Yeah.
see, the lies they said he invaded, it was a special military operation to save the people of that area from being slaughtered
Wow.
by the neo Nazis, trained, armed by
Yes.
the United States.
Wow. Yeah. That's heavy. You know what? I see that there. You know what? I'm looking at my different websites. It's not showing up, but it's a lot of people that are listening to the show. And
Mm-hmm.
and let me recap. We're talking about the news. We're talking about current events and past events, and we must remember history so it will not be repeated. And what do you think? I'm gonna go to China next. What do you think is the solution? Because you know what, you got a guy that's running for president, Donald Trump. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
he's saying, man, this would have never happened on his watch. I have a question for you. He's saying within 48 hours, once he gets in, um, this will be subsided. Do you think? What do you think about a statement like that, and what do you think is the solution?
What was the statement again? Excuse me.
Okay, I mean, former President Donald Trump said once he gets in the office, he said this will be subsided. This will be taken care of. This would have never happened on his watch. Okay,
Uh-huh.
but what do you think about what he said, and what do you think is the solution
About what Trump said about if he was
about the
president.
Ukraine?
Is yeah, well, you got to look at it and what you see, and you said it yourself. You said shadow government. You said
Yes.
that.
Hmm.
How many U.S. presidents since Kennedy were actually involved in what was going on and had the power, the willpower, and the knowledge to stop it?
Yes.
What we had since him were figureheads.
Hmm.
We put this person in front of you. You think he's directing it, but we controlling it. You see,
Hmm.
and this is the problem right now with this
Hmm.
country. These people don't control it. They are figureheads. Come on, look what we got right now. Come on, and you telling me that this represents the people of the United States and the policies and things that they're doing right now.
Hmm.
These new laws they pass and these sanctions and stuff they're placing
Yeah.
on different countries. And this
Hmm.
is gangsterism.
Yeah.
It's
Luciano.
plain and simple. And the people of the world are tired. They are fatigued of this system that has been installed 70, 80 years ago, that one country can profit, one country can decide what you do. You have one universal monetary system that has been installed by one country.
Federal
If you
Reserve. Yes.
trade,
Hmm.
if you buy oil, if you do any kind of international business, you're doing it in dollars, not in your currency. And
Great.
sometimes your currency fluctuates, you see, so it's not equal. You may be paying a whole lot more because of what your currency is. You look at the International Monetary Fund, you look at the World Bank, these have to be paid back in dollars.
It's just the reason. There's something called BRIC where they have, what these nations will come together. Is just the reason why they are attempting to have their own currency, because the U.S. dollar is not backed by anything, and the dollar bill can not be weaponized against them. If I Do I have it right? Can you elaborate on it?
Yeah, well, BRICS was formed. BRICS means Brazil, Russia, Brazil, Russia, India,
Hmm.
South Africa, and China,
Hmm.
or
Hmm.
China and South Africa. That spells BRICS.
Hmm.
These are the five countries, and you got to look at the globally. These are nations of the South.
Hmm.
You deal with the West and the South. These are the Southern nations who have decided that they're tired of being up under one universal system created by one country. And
Yes.
as the people serve, the International Monetary Fund comes in and tell you you have to take austerity measures, you have to cut pensions, you have to minimum wage. The people are already making minimum wage. You want them to starve. If you look at what they did to Greece, I was
Yes.
there when Greece had defaulted on the loan.
Mm-hmm.
They broke the back of Greece. They broke the back of Portugal, made them the
Wow.
two poorest countries in Europe, Western Europe, and they still fighting to stay afloat.
Hmm.
And then
And you
with
say,
the crisis,
and you say the reason that they're not discussing this on U.S. news because they control the news. Is that's the reason why they're not
yes, yeah,
doing?
they first of all they control the news and they give you their narrative. This is why they hate Carlson Tucker for going over to Russia and interviewing Vladimir Putin, because now you're hearing his side. You're hearing the
Mhm.
side of the man who you're trying to demonize. You're hearing the side of a person whose country got to fight to keep their dignity and their territorial integrity intact. And because of what you're trying to do to them and what you've been trying to do to them for the last 60, 70 years, because you fear them being economically equal to you.
Mhm.
Same thing with China.
Yes, that was the next thing I was going to come to. What do you think that it is in the United States' best interest to get involved in a conflict with Taiwan and China? Do you think it's in the best interest? But
It's
because the United States had a policy was saying that they recognize it as being one, they recognize them as being one. They appear to be saying one thing, but doing another thing. Can you elaborate on that?
Have you ever known this country to not be double faced
Hmm.
or double breasted? They tell you one thing and they do something else. How many times have they promised this and this and that, and lied to other nations, invaded nations? Oh, you cool, we gonna do this and do that, and turned around. And once the nation agreed with America, something else came up. Where
Yes.
that nation was destroyed, or where something. These people that's running this country are the most diabolical people I've ever seen in my life. And I've been through Europe and Africa, and I've seen a lot of things going on. I ain't never seen anything like this, what's going on today. These are people that cannot be trusted. Their word can not be taken at face value. As the Indian brothers say, they speak with forked tongue, and they live with forked tongue.
So, so you would say that it is not in the United States' best interest to get involved in a conflict.
What's going on? And when you deal with his historical data, you destroy them. You got to look at how and why did Taiwan come into play? Who is Taiwan? Taiwan is Chinese.
Hmm.
The people there are Chinese, but they want to call themselves Taiwanese. How did that happen? In 1945, Mao and General Chiang Shik,
Hmm.
they fought together to kick the Japanese out of Japan. Later on, they had a disagreement.
Hmm.
49, they fought each other.
Hmm.
Mao army was winning.
Yes.
Chiang Shek took his people and fled to the island of Taiwan, set up
Hmm.
base there. If
Hmm.
Mao wanted to, he could have obliterated him, but he didn't. Cool. But you still part of China. So
Mm.
it's the one China policy. And if people don't know history, if you don't know history, you can't dissect what's going on and you can't see what's going on. This is simply because Taiwan is where you get your motherboards, your computer chips from Taiwan. They're the number
Hmm.
one manufacturer in the world, you see. So they want to try to shut down China using
Hmm.
Taiwan. The same thing as, the North and South Vietnamese and any other conflict they've been in, North and South Korea, et cetera, et cetera. No, it's
Hmm.
not in America's interest in there, but their goal is, and Janet Yellen, the Secretary of Treasury, said it. We
Yes.
have to be prepared to fight two wars simultaneously. And who's
Like
that?
the Roman
Against
Empire.
Russia
Go ahead.
and against China.
Mm.
We're
You know,
not going to win.
Yeah. Why? You know what? When we talk about China, I see them as a juggernaut. I like to ask you, um, China is really building up Africa by making investments in their infrastructure. And
Hmm.
is it because they see them as equal partner? They don't see them as subservient as the U.S. Some policymakers in the United States may see, because China is rich. I mean, Africa is rich in
Hmm.
resources. What is the
Hmm.
reason they're making such a huge investment? I know why, but America
Russia.
is not making a huge investment because, um, what's the reason, brother?
Well, America, just like Europe, has exploited Africa for decades, taking
Well,
out the
they'll
mineral.
first. Okay.
Let me give you an elaborate response to that. First, take France for example. Take the
Mm-hmm.
country Niger, where they just had a recent military coup.
Mm-hmm.
France is in there taking out uranium, a few of their nuclear plants.
Yes, sir.
You got electrical shortages in Africa,
Mm-hmm.
where sometimes you may not have power for 14 hours. Sometimes you may not have power a day.
Yes.
Had they thought to say, hey, well, let us build you a nuclear plant. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
I keep you backwards.
Mm-hmm.
I keep you dependent on me, and I keep exploiting you. Historically, during their fight for independence, there's two countries that helped the African nations. Russia and China gave them weapons, and Russia fed them,
Yes.
physically fed them to fight against the oppressors for their freedom. And that's why Russia and China are respected in Africa. America supported apartheid. You see,
Yes.
America exploits, everything.
Can you explain what
So
apartheid is? There means somebody may not know what apartheid means.
well, apartheid means separation. It means apartheid. Is a mixture of Dutch, which they call Boer, because the Dutch are called the Boers there, like a
Mm-hmm.
wild boar, the Boers.
Yes.
It's a word derived from them that means separation. White here, black there. You don't run nothing. We run everything, and you the minority. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
I-
that was apartheid. Harsh laws where it was worse than slavery. Jim Crow, where you couldn't go here. You don't drink at this fountain. I got a picture right now of a beach in Durban, South Africa, with a sign that says "Law, Whites Only Beach"
wow.
in an African country with black people.
Apartheid.
America did nothing to help that. America did nothing to alleviate the people's suffering. China
Mhm.
and Russia are making inroads right now because they're building modern infrastructure with
Yes.
the natural resources that Africa has. Africa is using countries are using their natural resources to pay these countries back for helping them enter into the modern world. Modern infrastructure, roads, telecommunications,
Mhm.
trains, transportation system, hospitals, administration. But where was America 50, 60, 70 years ago when these people were struggling? And
So
now you
the
say
United
Russia
States does
and
not want to
China
be.
are the bandits,
Yeah, the United States does not want to be equal partners. They want them to be subordinate to them. Is that
the
what you're saying?
dominant partner. He who holds the gold rules, right? And that's the basic concept of these people. They tell us there's nothing over there, but when they go and come back, they're richer than what they were. And they
Yeah.
tell us they separate us and keep us from joining and being with our people over there. They tell them lies, they tell us lies, step in the
Mhm.
background and
Well,
that's
yeah,
their.
and when we talk about China, can you explain to me why U.S. policymakers are so threatening China because of TikTok? They're collecting our information. I mean, they're doing that anyway. But China is buying up land in the United States of America. They're buying
Mhm.
land next to military bases. They had a balloon fly over the United States of America. Plus, they're
Mhm.
making investments in. Why is the U.S. so fearful? And China may put a military base in Cuba. Okay, why is the U.S. so fearful
Well,
of
because
China?
the yellow
And
giant
then
is.
the other thing is, I saw something on Fox News. They see Chinese are crossing into the borders on Texas and all this,
Mhm.
and actually anybody can get into those borders. And the
Mhm.
little they're catching us in teams to raise havoc. But why are we so suspectful of China if they're helping to develop? They're helping to develop China and modernize it. Why?
Well, because first of all, when China was weak and poor, see China, unlike America, you got an Eastern heritage. You got an Eastern thought process, not
Mm-hmm.
like the West. Them people planned not for 5 years, not for 10 years, not for 100 years. They planned for 1,000 years of what you're seeing right now for their development. Mao
Yeah.
Zedong put in a program for the development of his people
Mm-hmm.
million years after he's dead and gone. So there's people
Mm-hmm.
can advance, and the people there that are running the country have advanced. Now China is one of the number one world economies. America don't like to
Yeah,
say
the
it.
biggest navy too, bigger than the U.S. now. But go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You see what I'm saying? So they
Mm-hmm.
don't they don't they don't want to say it because they want to keep projecting American exceptionalism, which
Mm-hmm.
is a farce. And so the fight against China is for control of that South China Sea area. You got Vietnam, you got different other countries that
Mm-hmm.
even the Solomon Islands and different places off the coast of Australia where
Mm-hmm.
China is making inroads. You got Australia right there. You got them islands right there. You ain't did nothing for them people. China come in and say, hey, we'll help you build a port, blah, this and blah. Oh, they up in arms. But you was there
Mm-hmm.
70, 80 years. You did nothing for these people. You got the people that's coming in through the border. These
Yeah.
are poor Chinese immigrants that have been exploited, that they can't make money in China. They can't do nothing in China. They're told to come here, this and that. It's human trafficking. And
Mm-hmm.
so that channel that they come in through Mexico, they just follow the immigration. These people have paid thousands of dollars, just like some of the African brothers that get stuck in the islands, the Canary Islands, right before Spain, getting to Spain, trying to
Mm-hmm.
get to the promised land, Europe, because they're out of jobs and have no work and stuff
Yes.
in Africa. It's the same thing going on. But see, America's trying to exploit that. Like, you don't have a million Chinese trying to get in here. You
Mm-hmm.
see what I'm saying? That's just one instance,
Mm-hmm.
But the hate for China is for control of that region. You see, America wants to control the world, and
Mm-hmm.
they want to tell people what they can and cannot do. And if I got military power, you got a weak country, I got you. But see, China is standing in their way. Russia is in their way. India, the BRICS nations have been formed to counteract the American domination of the world and the unfair trade, the unfair things that are going on that profits only America and
Mm-hmm.
no other country. And so this is the struggle. These are the things that's going on, but they lie. The press, they lie. They trying to
And the
crucify.
American news media is not really. They're showing somebody got a yo-yo up and down and something like that, but they're not talking about things of substance to free the people. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's no more free speech here. How is it that the European Union is trying to sanction
Mm-hmm.
Tucker for
Yeah.
what? You represent 30 some countries. Why are you trying to sanction a man for interviewing somebody? What's wrong with you? Why
Mm-hmm.
are you demonizing him for interviewing a man? It's because the truth, and it is because the things that you wanted to keep hidden, that Putin exposed. You want to demonize this man? They said one guy. I was reading some of the reactions. He said in 2 hours, this man, we discovered the history of his country, the love this
Yeah.
man has for his country, their struggles, and the offhanded things America was doing to try to upset and destroy the country. in 2 hours. They say Biden don't even remember when his son passed. And that, sad to say, in all due respect, uh, it was a difference. This man gave the world an education in 2 hours about his country, who he was, and didn't have no pen and paper in front of him.
Mm. Oh man,
Deep, ain't it?
it's pathetic. Brother, I want to try to have you back next week, but you know what? I want to ask you something about immigration in Sanctuary City, and I would like to know, it's not it, the Hispanic, Mexican, or Latino that kind of come to the United States. It's not the United States partially responsible for the destabilization in Central America, Guatemala, and all this. And did we not take Texas and Arizona? Are we not responsible for some of the drug lords and the destabilization that is going on in that hemisphere, in that part of the hemisphere?
We're responsible for all of that. For the last 100 years, just look in America's backyard. You don't have to look at overseas or
Now he's
Russia.
talking historically. He's
Yes,
done the research. Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
right. And so you got to look at, you take Colombia, for example, in the 1800s. You had rich. You take Colombia. You take Cuba, the Spanish American War. What was that about? You see what I'm saying? You had Americans down there owning sugar plantations. Sugar and cigars were Cuba's two chief exports.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So the Spanish had control of Cuba. When the Cuban-American War broke out, America won the war. So the people that fought in the war, ragtag brothers like you and me, our color, with machetes, raggedy guns, knives, and they fought and beat the Spanish. When the American generals saw them, their mouth fell open. What? These raggedy dudes here?
Yes.
You see, but they didn't have not one person of color at the Paris meeting when they signed the truce. Not one. They had the white. They had the fair-skinned Cubans. You take Colombia, where they had built trains, United Fruit Growers, trains all the way to the banana plantations, where the people selling their fruit and stuff couldn't get a decent penny because they were being undercut by their own people, they greedy, rich land barons, and those that were in cahoots with American businessmen and an American government to profit off the back of these people. Different countries all over Central and South America have experienced this. Nicaragua, the Contras, against the Sandinistas. You see what I'm saying? Oliver North.
Oliver
All
North.
of this, all of this, all of this was by design. That was due to the Monroe Doctrine.
Yes.
Okay, everything in America backyard, they push Europe out. England, what you gonna do with Spain? What you gonna do with Mexico? France, what you gonna do? You got to get out of there. You and I backyard. You see what I'm saying? They kicked everybody out of Central and South America. They placed leaders who they chose, handpicked, businessmen or politicians, to be in control of their governments there,
Yeah.
that were subservient to the United States of America, and mistreated and killed and murdered their own people in order to keep things the way America wanted it to be, because that's what they control. And so that's what created this. And then the drugs. America got a drug problem. Where the drugs coming from? How they getting in here? You're taking poor people who you've reduced and pushed into poverty, and you give them nothing. What you think they're going to do? What are the young brothers doing here that don't have jobs? The high unemployment youth rate here just in Chicago. What are these young brothers doing? They selling drugs. They stealing. They robbing cars. They trying to survive. It ain't nice. It ain't easy, and it don't look good, and it's not going to be productive. But what do you want them to do when they got to feed themselves and their little babies?
What when you say that Governor Abbott is not really wrong? I mean, now this might sound funny to some people. How's Governor what's the name of Texas? No, of Texas.
The governor of Texas.
Yeah, how is he wrong if he's shipping people to sanctuary cities like Chicago, New York, and California, if they classify themselves as sanctuary cities, where they have open arms, where there should be no complaints whatsoever about them coming into the cities. Would you agree with that or disagree with that?
Well, first, well, he has a right as a governor, as a human being, as an American, quote unquote, to protect his borders. Okay, to make sure that
Governor
you
Abbott,
know
yeah,
Texas, and everything is good there for the people. You already got people there. You see what I'm saying? You got people of Hispanic origin, this and that. The influx of people coming fleeing. Some of them have legitimate concerns. You got the gangs, you got the cartels, then you got some of them that are political refugees fleeing
yeah,
their governments from political or economic or social prosecution. Now, okay,
yeah,
we can understand that, and then some of them, just like when Cuba opened up the gates in 1980. When they went to Florida, criminals, this and that, this and that. So you got a mixture of everything. But the thing is, the problems that created this,
yeah,
where did it come from? Where did it come from? And once you know that, and yes, this man has a right to do what he's doing, but it's not right.
well,
He has right, but hold on. He has a right, but I say that is not right. And the reason that I say is not right, because you're taking people, you're putting them on buses, and you're shipping them here, you're shipping them there, and what kind of future they gonna have? What's going on? We struggling here already. Everybody's struggling in
mhm,
America, and you allow the floodgates to open. It's not right, but people do what they feel in their power to do. It should be a better solution. It should have been the immigration thing should have been regulated 30, 40 years ago. Simple.
okay.
It's not
I'm
that
gonna
hard.
I gotta follow up with a question once you finish. Okay.
Hmm.
My follow up is, if you classify yourself as a sanctuary city,
Hmm.
you should have no problem. Why don't you declassify yourself? Your mayor in Chicago said they will fine the bus companies for bringing them in, but you classify yourself as a sanctuary city. That's like me opening up my doors and saying anybody can come in, and I get mad when it's flooded. You know what? I would say, you know what? That's enough is enough. Can you elaborate on that? If I'm wrong, let me know.
Well, you right. You always right.
No, no,
I'm
no,
saying far as that concerned.
no.
But see the thing is, that system was in place before he became mayor. We
Mhm.
can't forget that.
Yeah,
And it was for to create a safe haven for. They didn't expect a major influx like what you're getting right now.
yeah,
Droves, thousands of people. They didn't expect that. But
yeah.
you set yourself up. You set yourself up that you set yourself up for that as a country by pretending to be the, you see what I'm saying, the lighthouse of the world. Everybody blah this and blah that, and the problem that you created there. Now, getting back to the sanctuary cities in California, this and that, they were designed to help those political escapees or whatever,
Mhm.
those who came in, that they were not and never ever prepared for the total
Mhm.
influx of the people coming in that are coming in right now,
Mhm.
and that created a problem. And now this man, he didn't install that system. He got to deal with it now because he's an appointee. We
Yeah.
elected him, but he got to deal with that because there was the system put in place before he was there. He don't like it. He can't control it. One
No.
thing he can do is deal with the United States government. Why are we having this problem at the border? You see, why can't you do your job? And so
Take
now
them.
the sanctuary cities have become, look what they're doing right here in Chicago. These Venezuelans, they get these gangs and they taking them to the shopping centers to steal. And so now
Mm.
they're going to do jail. And then they're going to get
Mm.
shipped back to wherever they came from.
Mhm.
The
What you,
crazy part of all of that
mhm.
is that the government, this government, is doing nothing to quell that. You
Mhm.
can stop that border influx right now if you will to do it.
They don't understand. But you know what? When we speak with the way a president is, would you say that the citizen that is angry, outraged, and say, I dare them give them money and give them funds, and there have been people out there that were homeless for years. So where is all of this capital coming from? My property taxes are going. Are they justified in saying that or not? Really, they're angry. And some say, I'm going to vote for Donald Trump for that reason, former President Donald. Are they justified in saying that these resources should have been made available for people before this tragedy, uh, opportunity for other people happened?
Well, first and foremost, my this is my ideal, and my ideal is this: you take care of your people who are here first. Whatever
Yeah.
you have left over, if you want to deal with immigrants or whatever, then that's what you do. Now you're talking
Mm-hmm.
about building homes and apartments and this and that and stuff like that for the influx of people, but you're not even dealing with the people that's been on the waiting list 5 years, 10 years, that's still waiting to get, and all of a sudden, boom, boom, somebody come in. Yeah, you be angry, you be hot, you want to whoop them. You see,
Mm-hmm.
because you looking at your situation, you look like, well, okay, I understand them, but I'm here. I've been on this waiting list, man. I got a family, I got children, I still got to work. I'm living in housing that's undecent, and I'm trying to do better. And wait a minute, you
Mm-hmm.
just push me aside and bang, oh, we got to do this for that. Woo, 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 woo,
Yes.
woo, 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 woo. And
Yeah.
so you angry, and it's not normal. No disrespect to them. Everybody needs decent housing, but you got to take care of your people first. If you can't do that, but you got money set aside for something else, that tells you exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
And as some people say, why are they letting them in here? Like that. They trying to replace us. You see what I'm saying?
Mm, yeah. You know what, brother? I got two more questions for you, and I hope that you will grace us with the presence and come back next week to talk about current events and news. And other question is, when you first of all, I got to tread on this. What, how do you get peace in the Middle East between the Palestinians and Israel? How do you do it? Is it capable? Is it capable? Is it a capability of doing it? And I'm playing a balancing act for a reason, but I'm asking you.
Well, let me put it to you like this. If I think it was Resolution 383
Hmm.
that came about in 1948, the
Hmm.
United Nations said that those Palestinians during the Nakba, the great catastrophe,
Hmm.
that were driven out of their homes
Hmm.
by the Israelis
Hmm.
when they turned the state from Palestine and renamed it Israel in
Hmm.
1948, they have the right to return home. If
Yes.
not, they have the right to be compensated for their land and property that was forcefully taken from them. Did you know
Hmm.
that was never implemented by the Israelis? It was never respected. They have not allowed a Palestinian to
Hmm.
return home to their homeland. So, with that going on, you got to look at the formation of Israel. How did Israel come to be from the
Yeah.
state of Palestine? You got to
Yes.
deal with the 1897 hookup with Werner Herzog. You got to deal with the Balfour Declaration. You got to deal with the steady flow and influx from 1945 to 48
Hmm.
of Jews from Eastern Europe and all over America that were
Hmm.
allowed to come there,
Hmm.
that they were outnumbered by the Palestinians until 1948 when they became the majority by massacring, killing, murdering the Palestinian people, kicking them off their land because they were getting weapons from Eastern Europe to do it, and America. This was Zionism. It was
What is that?
created.
Now, somebody doesn't know what Zionism is. Can you explain?
Zionism is an ideal
Okay.
formed in 1896 in a pamphlet by Theodor Herzl, the father of Zionism. It's an
Okay.
ideal that the state of Palestine,
Yes.
which the Jews are originally from, same as the Palestinians,
Yes.
would become a Jewish state, not
Yes.
just a homeland for
Mm-hmm.
Jews,
Mm-hmm.
but a Jewish state. So you're going to take the state of Palestine in 1945 and to 1948, you're going to name it Israel. You're going to
Yes.
allow the Jews to come in from everywhere. You're going to deny the Palestinians their rights to exist. And then you turn it into, in 1945, apartheid started in South Africa. It started in 1945 in Israel. The Palestinians are living in squalid conditions, and this is why the PLO came about, the Palestinian Liberation Organization, to protect their people. They went and ran into over 100 and some villages, 180 some villages, murdering and killing Palestinians. The walls of Jericho are open, flee while you still have your life. That's what they were told, why they were stealing these people's land and murdering them. And this is why you had the Israeli-Palestinian conflict today. America supports Israel because Zionists in the United States government
Mm-hmm.
around the world supports Israel. Why
Mm-hmm.
is it that Israel can do and get away with everything in the world? Right now, you got a crisis in Sudan. You got over 12,000, 13,000 displaced children because they're warring in Sudan. Have you heard about that?
No.
All the
I've
news is
seen,
about
as they
Israel
talk about the
and
news,
Russia.
they just don't put out the information on American news like they
Uh-huh.
should. I've never heard about that. No.
You see, so and this is what's going on. They also said they passed a resolution. I believe a resolution. I think it's 183 in 48 also
Mm-hmm.
saying that the state should be partitioned into two:
Yes.
state of Israel and a state of Palestine.
Mm-hmm.
But you gave more land. You allocated more land
Mm-hmm.
to the Israelis than you did the Palestinian people who were there.
Wow.
Quite naturally, they rejected that. And
They
then,
walked away
as
from,
the
they walked away from the negotiation tables, from what I believe. Yes.
yes,
Yes.
you
Mm-hmm.
would have too. If they're telling you that your garden you can't have after you plant it there, what you talking about? Man, it's my house. You see, so this when you deal with all of this, and you got to deal with the Zionists in American government, you got to deal with the Zionist organizations worldwide and in America here. These think tanks, they are cover fronts for noble sounding institutions, but they're Zionist in nature. And their
Mm.
desire is for Israel to control. That's what they say. They call Israel a Jewish state. So how you gonna have a Jewish state with Palestinians living there? You would not allow them to have anything. Gaza, the West Bank, Ramallah, different other cities. You control everything. You control their gas. You control their water. You control their communications. You control their movement,
I
and you
almost sound
steadily
like
harassing them.
the east side of Chicago. But go ahead, brother.
Yeah, yes. You see what I'm saying? You steady harassing and doing this, man. You provoked them people to do what they did on the 7th of October. I don't condone that. But
Yes.
what you've been doing to these people, what drives a man to do that? Why you don't give them the freedom? They cannot engage in international commerce.
Mm-hmm.
They got a port they can't use. You control the ships, anything coming in there. What are you? This is what the Nazis did to you, what you're doing to these people. But see, they don't let you know this or see this. And so they tell you, it's a peaceful solution, but you got people that don't want peace because when you're trying to take over the whole country
Then
with
yeah.
the people that's living there, that's been there, when you got expelled by revolting against the Romans and Nebuchadnezzar in Babylon, which is modern day Iraq, you got kicked out. The only people that was there were the Palestinians, and some Jews. Most of you fled. They took you in captivity to Rome. You dispersed all throughout Europe, mainly in Germany and France, and now you come back. And you
So
want the
it
people that's there,
appears
you
to
gonna
me
give them
that
no
you're
do.
not saying it against the Jewish people. You're saying this against the Zionists, the Zion, like Netanyahu. You're saying this against the Zionists.
It's the difference between a normal person, Hebrew or Jewish descent, and a Zionist. The
Yes,
goal and ideals of the Zionists is to control all of Israel,
yes,
regardless of who's there. This is ours. No, it's not. No, it's not. And
yes,
so when you got Americans in the government, Anthony Blinken, the boy Miller, that's one of the speakers, Janet Yellen, the treasurer,
yes,
Zionists,
yes.
Sullivan, his wife is a Zionist,
Mm-hmm,
Jake Sullivan. So
mm-hmm.
when you got these elements in the United States government, when you got these worldwide elements that support what's going on, and of course they're not giving you the real news, they're not showing you
Thank
the
you.
70% of infrastructure destroyed. They're not showing you the hospitals, the mosque, the refugee centers, the Red Cross centers that they've bombed. They're not showing you this. They're not showing you. I just wrote on Twitter, X, about this little girl, 6-year-old girl named Hine, who was trapped inside of a car. They killed all her parents in the car. She was on the phone begging for rescue to help her. 2 weeks ago, this little girl is dead today. They found her in the car. The rescue workers, the first responders that came, they murdered them too.
Yeah. Some are
You see,
suggesting that Netanyahu, when the tide has turned against him, that he should be wanted on war crimes. I don't know if you want to elaborate on that. I leave that alone.
he wanted what?
He should be wanted on war crimes for
Yes.
the. And, I'm
He's a
listening to
listen.
the news, and I saw that it suggested that he should be wanted on war crimes for the atrocities, gross atrocities that have transpired in the Gaza Strip. And would you like to elaborate on that? Or leave that alone because I know the
He
Mossad they
is
have a lot of.
he is uh I'm gonna give you a paradox.
Yes,
Zelensky,
yes,
Vladimir Zelensky, the president of Ukraine.
yes, yes,
He got a neo-Nazi army, right? That was
yes,
killing the people in southeastern Ukraine.
yes.
Neo-Nazis don't like Jews, is that right? They killed Jews. They
Yes,
killed Jews. Over 1 million Poles, Jews,
which is
Russians, and their
wrong,
own people who
wrong.
didn't side with them in Ukraine.
Yes,
So how is it that you got a Jewish president with a neo-Nazi army? You understand the paradox? Then you
yeah.
go to Netanyahu, who is a criminal. This man, if he's not in the government, he would be in jail for his criminal activities, money laundering, whatever he was doing. I don't know the charges, but the only thing saving him from prosecution is he's the prime minister of Israel. What he ordered the people to do, and see, it's a double talk. In English, when you see him on the interview, they talk about how we fighting them so the
Yeah,
world don't have to fight them and terrorism. But in
yeah.
Hebrew, they talking about the annihilation of the
Mm-hmm.
Palestinian people there. They talking about taking Gaza, okay, and turn
Yeah.
it into a place for the settlers. When you got two Israeli parliament members, the Knesset, two members of the Knesset in key positions in military and housing or whatever, that are Jewish settlers who are illegally in West Bank territory, which they're not supposed to be in, illegal settlements, at a meeting with other Jews who are talking about we need to kill every Palestinian in Gaza and take it over so we can have it. They had a meeting. But
Yeah.
in English, it's a double talk. It's we blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah. And in Hebrew, they
Yes.
talking about, you got journalists. You got journalists talking about more Palestinians need to die. You got an American senator. You got an American senator, congressman who fought with the Israelis, wore an IDF uniform to Congress, And when they
Wow.
interviewed him, he's saying, no, it's not enough Palestinians dead. He's an American. You understand
Yes.
what we're dealing with?
Yeah. I
And nobody
understand.
says nothing.
Yeah. Let
You
me
know,
I
so
got to say this to the people out, and I don't know where they got the word anti-Semitic. We're not anti-Semitic, um, but that's really not the word. And you know what? This is against Zionists, not against people, Jewish people that are attempting to do right and trying to live the way God wants them to live. With nothing against it. And He is giving historical facts. Okay, as He is a researcher. I like to ask you something, brother. You speak French. Do you have a message that you like to put out in that language? I
do
wouldn't
I
be
have,
started anyway.
do I have a message to say in French?
Yes.
Yep. Et je voulais que ceux qui sont dans le monde, qui acceptent les choses qui se passent maintenant, et que eux peuvent dégager certains trucs qui sont pas bien. Et ça veut dire que il faut que le gouvernement, il faut que les gens qui reprennent leur santé, qui sont. Pour cette raison-là, j'espère que tout le monde va changer. I hope that everybody start to look at their government and that we are able to change the things right now before it get to an abyss which we'll never be able to get out of.
And I don't know if you want to elaborate on this, but how each man, good man, there's a good woman. I would like to know how, if you want to elaborate, how's your wife help you in your development to cultivate things? If you want to elaborate that, because I know that's a personal issue.
Mm. Can you repeat that real quick?
How's your wife help you in your
Well,
endeavor?
she
Each man, there's a woman somewhere, but
yes,
how would
sir.
you may not want to elaborate on how's your wife help
Well,
you
first
cultivate?
and foremost, my wife is a Muslim,
Yes,
years younger than me, but at the same time, she's an intelligent woman who
yes,
has been to school, and we sit and we talk about different things. A lot of things that our people in Africa don't know. They keep our people in Africa dumbed down in order to control them. My job is to enlighten this person that's with me, and so we
yes.
can take our journey together, and we know which direction we headed. And see, behind every great man is a woman. I don't claim to be a great man, but your help meet is there to help you deal with certain things that you can't control that they can. And that's the
Yes,
nature of a woman. And
yes,
when you got a good woman, you honor and you cherish her. And once she feels that love, man, she can go and conquer the world because
because she has
she know
helped to
that you got her
cultivate
back and
you.
she got yours.
Okay. Oh, well, hold on. I think we got a call. Yes, hello, hello. Yes. Go ahead, caller. Hold on for 1 second. Go ahead, caller. Got a call. You go ahead. Cannot hear the caller. Oh, shoot. I cannot hear the caller.
Mhm.
You know. But what would you say? But your wife has helped to cultivate you,
Well,
help
yeah,
you
yeah, she
develop.
helps. I mean, she's a young woman, but she's an intelligent woman. We talk about the plight of our people in Africa. We talk about what things we can do to help alleviate the suffering of our people. How can we bring our people up? And how can we um, stabilize the destabilization of Africa and things that's going
Yes,
on because that's the cradle of civilization. And see
yes,
the dirt that's been done to Africa by Europe, by America, by anybody that wants to exploit Africa
mm-hmm.
has denigrated the belief system. Then
Yes,
you got our brothers. They're dying trying to get out of Africa. They're going through the Canary Islands, Spain, and they get mistreated. Some of them are dying. I don't
yes,
know if you saw a video in Morocco where off the coast of Morocco or somewhere, they had our people, just laying down like in slave fashion. You know what I mean? I mean, just mistreated,
Mhm.
and we try to find solutions. I
Yes,
enlighten her, she enlightened me, and
yes,
and you know that's
yes.
that's the beauty of that. The youth and the
Mhm,
age. And so
mhm,
we bridging the gap, and at the same time we trying to look and find solutions, not just in Africa but
mhm,
worldwide for our people. You
mhm.
know, and
You know what, brother? You know what? First of all, people that are looking at this in the future, this is what was going on in year 2020, and you can use this show for case study. Okay, in the future, and you know what, brother? I have been asking you so many questions. I'm sorry about the phone call. It's not. I don't know what happened to my apparatus, but I have been asking you questions, and perhaps there's something that you wanted to say that I didn't give you the opportunity to say, and you want to leave contact information, please let me remiss and subordinate myself, you know, and let you say so. You may have been a message that you wanted to specifically relate to the people.
well, first of all, I would like to see the reunification of our people. You've seen the reunification of Germany. But
Mhm.
if we don't extend our hand to Africa and they don't extend our hand to us, we're going to perish. And
Yes,
the reason we're going to perish because we in Babylon. We in a place where we're not loved. It's
yes,
pretend love, and see a lot of us under the false misconception of equality and this and that. There is now. Our future may be in Africa, not here.
yes,
So I'm looking at a reunification, us to understand them and them to understand us. We both been lied to, and
yes,
we've been we've been so miseducated,
yes,
educated about who our people are over there on purpose. If I
yes,
keep you away from the bounty, you don't become rich. If
yes,
I keep you away from your heritage, if I keep you away from the things you need to know about your people, and all the information I get about our people is from you,
yes.
if you know the truth, you're not going to tell us because you want to keep us in bondage
Mm.
mentally, encapsulate our minds. You want to, you're going to give us empire. You're going to give us, all these series, where
Dancing with the
this is black
stars.
exploitation part
Yeah.
2, 2.0. You see what I'm saying? From the 70s when we was watching Superfly and Coffee Brown and everything is all these shows that they putting out, and in every show, as you know, you got some strange fruit in it. And this is
Yes,
what they're trying to program us to. They're trying to put this over in Africa. You spend $4.1 billion pushing this all around the world, and countries that
yes,
refuse you want to sanction. What are you trying to do? You're trying
yeah.
to destroy families. You don't
Mhm,
want strong minded, wielded black people with independent ideals and know how to communicate those ideals to the
mhm.
rest of the people. Then I don't like the terminology woke. I say that you have become aware. You understand what you didn't know before because now with the technology stuff, they can't hide the truth anymore like they used to. You
Mhm.
see, but see, we got a problem. We got some black people that doing the Ku Klux Klan run. You got some black Ku Klux
Yeah,
Klansmen. You got
yeah,
some hippo brothers here today that would tell on you, that would trick on you, that would do the same things that was done before because they've been programmed and predestined to do that.
yeah. You know
Our
something,
problem is
brother?
unification.
There's a sister that comes on WBON. I'm not going to call her name. She's a host. And you know what? I look at the disinformation. She said, I do not understand why South Africa is inviting Putin, the president of Russia, Putin, in with open arms. And you know what? She's supposed to be an educated lady. And she did not. And the listeners didn't know, but they did not understand that Putin supported the Black National Congress and Nelson Mandela, while people in the United States, government and officials, supported apartheid. And I was just astonished. But we don't know everything. But I'm
but
not gonna call the host name, but it's a lady. You
well,
know.
you got to look at who owns WVM, right? WVOM
Clear
right now,
time.
Clear Channel, right? Clear
Yeah.
Channel or one
Yeah.
of those companies.
Yes.
It's job security. You,
Yeah.
you you can't get on. She can't get on there and first of all, you got to deal with ignorance.
You say WBON
It's not you
radio.
dumb or stupid. It's what you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't been to Africa, you haven't been to Europe, you haven't lived among these people, experienced them, you know, all your news, everything you get is from a people that denigrates you, then quite naturally you're going to repeat what they say. You don't
Yeah.
know nothing. When you talk like that, that means you don't know. When you don't know anything about Russia or Putin, if we don't know anything about South Africa, why did South Africa present the case of genocide against Israel and won? Because these people experienced genocide under the apartheid system when they were being murdered and tortured. Oliver Tambo, you got Patrice Lumumba after that was killed by the
Mm-hmm.
Belgian, with his
Yeah.
help of the CIA,
Yeah.
because he wanted to make his country free. That's the most mineral rich country in Africa, by the way. So
Mm-hmm.
if you don't know your history, you don't know who you are, and the government and those that give you a job are telling you this and that, it's ignorance and it's fear.
Mm-hmm.
First is fear. You don't know who
Mm-hmm.
you are, and secondly, you have a fear of losing a job. So you're going to talk about things that's relevant and generalize instead of pinpointing the problem and trying to come up with a solution.
Right. You know what, brother? This is the last question. Who do you think in the presidential election for 2024 in November would be the best steward for the United States of America? President Joe Biden or former President Donald Trump? Who do you think would be the best steward and why?
I got a surprise for you. There's an
Hmm.
outsider. The Bobby Kennedy Jr.
Okay.
Outsider. Other than that, it's Trump. And the reason for that is because this man he has just destroyed the integrity of this country in 4 years.
Yeah.
Man, you got a figurehead that don't know nothing. I used to say Donald Trump didn't know nothing, but you know, and I'm not a fan of his, but the man got a heart for this country. He got a heart for the people
America
of this
first.
country. You see what I'm saying? And make America great, man. I'm not wearing no MAGA hat. I don't believe in that because that's a farce. This country ain't never stopped being great. It's
Yeah.
just been ran to the ground by a lot of people who've been under the halo of these things imposed upon them to the way that they want the country to be ran. You can't tell me that this man that come on, man, look at this is the merit. This is the world's public joke.
Yeah.
Okay, so Haley, they're gonna try to push her because she's supporting their agenda. War economy. You got to look at it. What is a war economy? What does America produce?
Military
Wars.
industrial complex. Go
There
ahead,
you
Mr.
go. Wars,
Yeah.
wars, wars, wars. And the people in the military and industrial complex have gotten rich off the people that they've placed in high office in America.
Yeah.
And
I
this is
gotta
what it's
I gotta
all
tell
about.
people, something like you, I'm leaning towards Donald Trump. You know
Uh-huh.
what? Because one thing about it might be rhetoric,
Mm-hmm.
but I believe that he does want to put America first. And I believe that people of color they might get something out. I believe that the Democratic Party has a tendency to take people of color, my color, for granted. I believe that. And his cognizant abilities. Hell, I'm slowing down mentally too. Go ahead.
Well,
I am.
yeah. Well, they look at this. What has happened in 4 years with
Mhm.
this man in office? I mean, come on,
Yeah.
come on. You are, and you got to look at the people surrounding him. His whole entourage, basically and practically, are from the old Obama administration. These
Yes.
are neoconservatives. These are hawks. These are Zionists. You got Hillary Clinton still squawking about blah this and blah that. She's not relevant anymore. Why are you interviewing her for what? What is her opinion isn't worth a dime because she's a neocon. This
Yeah.
woman convinced the president to go and kill Gaddafi. And look at this country now, one of the most modern countries in Africa, the richest countries, no debt. Nobody slept on the bridges. Everybody got a stipend from the oil because he said, this is not my oil. Allah gave us this oil, and he made sure that his people, free schools, free hospitals,
Yeah.
nobody slept on the bridge. He built apartments. He took $4 billion and built an oasis in the desert using his Nubian aquifer, the underground body of water.
Yeah.
And he did this for his people. You destroyed all that in the blink of an eye because of mutual jealousy and hate for a man of Arabic descent who had a love for Africa.
I'll tell you, know what, brother? I'm talking to you like we in the automobile, brother.
Well, you know how we talk. You know how we talk.
Yeah.
We're gonna get straight
I
to the
like
point.
talking to you, intelligent brother, that's talking
Mm,
about something, and not just talking about himself. I like
mhm.
it, But I like to ask. This is about Libya, man, and you know what? You know what? If it's inshallah, you can come back next week. I like to ask you. I think from people's perspectives, the tragedy that happened in Libya, which is located in Africa, for people that don't know, the destabilization of the government and the overthrowing of Gaddafi by his own people. There are many people that I speak of that think that that administration ought to be held on war crimes. The CIA operatives going in and disrupting. What is your opinion?
You just hit it in a nutshell. What is the CIA? What are they? Who do they work for? Who do they represent? How
Yes,
did they come about?
yes,
Go back, after World War I or World War II, you had the OSS, right?
yes,
Organization of Strategic Services. This was
yes,
the American Secret Service. And you had the
yes,
DIA, Defense Intelligence Agency. The
yes.
CIA was formed in 46, a year after 45. They turned the OSS into the
Mhm.
Central Intelligence Agency, which was
Yeah.
to gather information worldwide, spies or whatever, worldwide. Who controls that? You got industrial espionage. You got a lot of other things. Who
I mean,
controls that? Why did they come to
you
power?
but do you believe people in that Obama administration should be just like some people that should? I'm not gonna say some people believe that people in that Obama administration, maybe the head too, should be one of the war crimes for causing disruption within a region of the country, because you can say there are people dissatisfied. There are always going to be people dissatisfied in any society. Do you think that we know they're responsible? Do you think that they ought to be wanted on war crimes?
If in 2000, I was
Yes.
I was in Europe, Clinton's last year, right?
Now, that was Obama, brother, but go ahead. Uh-huh.
No, no, but what I'm saying, it was Clinton's last year in 2000, right?
Hmm.
Okay, now check this out. The Rome Treaty, which
Hmm.
created the International Criminal Court.
Hmm.
America is a signatory to that. They signed the agreement. Okay, but meaning that all the nations that signed, I forgot how many nations signed that agreement, it created the World Justice Court or World Criminal Court
Hmm.
to try criminals and war criminals or whatever, that was doing things illegally, killing their own people. Do you know that we don't adhere to that? We're signatories, but they said that no American, neither soldier or public figure in America will ever stand before that tribunal. And if they tried to drag them before, they'll blow it up.
Wow.
The Hague.
Wow.
So when you got this going on, you know what you're dealing with. It's total control. So why did they go and get Charles Taylor for what he did in Liberia? They go get the brother in Rwanda, this and that. They went and got the boy in Yugoslavia who died over there,
Hmm.
in the Hague. But You cannot prosecute American war criminals. You got to deal with the first Iraqi war, the second Iraqi war. You got to deal with the senators, the congressmen, and those who okayed that. What went on in Iraq. You see what I'm saying? The people in Fallujah that went in there killing those people. Man, you got a lot of things that you got to do. You got to deal with senators, congressmen, presidents, vice presidents. But you will never, ever, ever, ever give them up. But you want everybody else to do this and that. So it's an unjust system. So do you know these people they are war criminals, but they would never be prosecuted. But they cannot go on vacation in Europe. They cannot go on vacation in certain spots where they might end up. You see the Late Show. We got such and such starring at the Hague.
I
He's the
think
new criminal.
Henry Kissinger was one of those war crimes or something. I think so, but I have to fact check that.
Anytime, if you are a participant, either giving arms or physically there, you aiding and abiding, right?
Wow, man.
And so that does make you liable. What about collateral damage? Those people in the helicopter that gunned down those Iraqi citizens.
Sad, man.
Not one of them been prosecuted.
Can I say something? We've been over like 12, but you know what? Damn, I'm talking. Y'all don't know me and him talking to Carl like this, and I was like, damn, I got to go. But you know what? I like talking to people that are intelligent. He's a researcher. And I'm laughing because we was talking about Israel. I said I can't go back no further than 1947, 48 when the United Nations gave it to. And he went way back. I said I can't go back that far.
Well, it's my education. Do you see that picture right there I got up?
Yeah.
You know what that is?
No.
You know where it's at?
I would say Italy or Rome.
Nope. That's in Senegal.
Oh.
Dakar, Senegal.
Okay.
And it's called Le Monument de la Renaissance Africaine.
What does it represent?
The Monument of African Renaissance.
What does it represent?
It's at the island of Gorée, where they transferred us from that island to America. And the islands in Middle Pass, that's where the slaves were sent, the island of Gorée. And that's, and my wife asked me, she said, what's your interpretation of that? I said, that's the man. He's representing the strength.
Yes.
That's his wife, his backbone, who's there. Not the backbone because we the backbone, but his wife that's supporting him. That's there, and that baby represents the future for our people.
Wow. Well, hey, brother, what's and I'm encouraging people that have shows, that have podcasts, that write articles, blogs, newspapers, to interview this brother because he has a wealth of knowledge. All praises to the law.
Yes, sir.
First and foremost, yeah. But I'm encouraging you, Mike. Can you give your contact information because this brother needs to be on a lot of shows. Okay, so I say that humbly. All praises to the Lord.
Yes, sir.
This brother, hey, I'm not selfish. I know. What I ain't got no authority on blessings that Allah give, but you know what? You need to have them on your show. Write an article, write a story, a blog, have them on your. Can you give your information so people will have the ability to get in contact with you and have you on their platform?
Yeah, I can give I'll give my email address, and they can send me, information to that email address. I can give it to you right now. It'll
Yeah,
be
go ahead.
Lonnie.
I'll put it in the description. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm listening.
Lonnie LONNIE .Lewis LEWIS, all small letters, 80 at gmail.com.
Phone number,
And
Google's phone number.
Yeah, well, I'm kind of trying to keep that phone number a little bit private because sometimes we get a little prankster, somebody I don't really want to. I mean, the email for me, you can give me information and we talk, we communicate, then we can go a little bit further because right now, as you know, we got a lot of messed up people here trying to do things. And
Mm-hmm.
I've had a lot of experience even overseas. I built a computer, because I learned computers over there,
Mm-hmm.
and I started writing the book, and one of my hard drives disappeared, you know, while I was
You
out.
Yes.
So I'm very very skeptical about a lot of things like that.
Yeah. I truly thank you for accepting the invitation. When you talk about damn, we can run into another show. But we know that China is making cyber attacks against
Uh-huh.
the United States of America right now.
Uh-huh.
And China appears to be the new boogeyman. But we're going to tell the that's what we talking like we in the you know what? All of the brothers that are Islam alaikum, the brothers and sisters that are getting ready to go through Ramadan. Yeah, Allah.
Hmm.
If you're looking at this before Ramadan, after Ramadan, you know what? Just be prayerful and support Masjid Al Chair. It's located at 47th and Woodlawn in Chicago, in the United States. Masjid Al Farouk at 89th and Stony Island, which they take pictures sometimes of us going in there. And Manu and MCC on the north side. You got a mosque you want to go out there? Islamic mosque?
No, you said a mouthful right there. You got them.
Okay. So support them. They'll give me no support, but you know what? I give my support from Allah. But that's my duty. And brother, would you come back next week, brother?
Yes, sir. No problem.
Oh,
You my man. I'm gonna come back for you.
praises to Allah, brother. I want to,
Yes, sir.
humbly say thank you for sharing the knowledge that you have to whoever listens, because this is in cyberspace forever. Even if they get rid of this channel, somebody can take this, and
Oh yeah.
somebody can get the opportunity to see this. To my future grandkids, this is the way your grandfather was. All right.
But
So,
the thing that I've learned, and I heard a wise man say, you can't earn the love and respect of men if you don't share with men.
oh, yeah.
And see what you acquire. As you say, all praise be to Allah and grace to Allah. I was able to leave this country and travel and go to different places and experience and live and understand. And that's what gave me the knowledge. I didn't, it's something I don't possess on my own. It was acquired through my travels, and the grace of Allah, I was allowed to travel, to see and dissect things, and able to opinionate, able to do certain things that allowed me to be who I am. And I have a profound love of my people, first and foremost, here and in Africa.
Yeah.
And we got people in Europe too that
Yeah.
we need to unite
Yeah.
in order, instead of in competition against each other, and instead of this governmental affront that we dealing with, which keeping us separated. And I'm gonna give you this job, I'm gonna make you better than him, I'm gonna this and that. God don't care about your job. Allah
No.
don't care about what you do. He cares about how you act, how you treat your people, and how you respect yourself
Yes.
and others.
You know, when you say that, brother, I must talk about my shortcomings. I used to did not like to share, but you know what? You mentioned something about your wife, and I mentioned this about my wife. She helped to make me a better man, make me understand that being selfish and just holding on to things for yourself. I open up my hands to people that are watching. You cannot get all of the blessings. All of the blessings are not for you. So it's not to be jealous and envious. Whereas, for example, I got one follower on YouTube and you got a million. Your blessings is your blessings. my blessings, my blessings. Allah knows what I deserve. Allah knows what you deserve. So
Yes, sir.
a lot of that, I thank my wife and all praises due to Allah for not being selfish. I'm willing to share. Because you know what? Damn it, I can't take none of this with me, bro.
Nope, nope, nope. But you can pass it on, and it continues your legacy, and it enlightens and instills a sense of dignity and pride in our youth.
That's the
And
thing about us having two good wives. I don't know if your wife told you, but my wife sort of grounded me, and all praises due to Allah. I'm not
same,
jealous.
same here, same here, and
Yeah.
even though we're separated by distance right now, because
Yeah.
she's in Africa,
Yeah.
we talk daily. We share things. I share with her information. She shares with me information. We talk about what's going on in Africa, with the coups and everything going on. Why, and I explain to her why, and I explain to her the dirt that's been done, and the unraveling of Africa is not an unraveling. It's the people, these young revolutionaries that are in between 34 to 42 years old that are taking their countries back from these European exploiters.
Yeah.
And the world don't like it because for the simple reason, I don't want you to end my exploitation.
Yeah.
You see, but you don't
Damn,
care
we going into
about
another
people.
show because we do other half. No.
Yeah, you don't care about people. You know,
Yeah.
you selling guns that kill people. Your job and your demeanor is all about the money. I don't care who the guns kill. I sell them. That's my job. I
Yeah.
made 800, 2,000% profit on the death of people.
Praise due to
I
Allah.
have no love for the people,
No.
but we do.
Yeah, praise due to Allah, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Listen, one quick
Alhamdulillah.
message out there to the people. You know what? Share what you have. And you know what? Don't be jealous and envious because somebody has more than you. Do not. Because you know what? You do yourself a disservice. And God, yeah, Jesus, if that's who you say is God, is not pleased with those actions. Do not. And when you get that way, go somewhere in a corner and pray. You know, which I got to make some lots. Because you know what? Because I can't put no podcast before God once we get
Never.
off. But go somewhere in a corner and pray once you become jealous, envious, and hateful of somebody. Because again, all the blessings are for you. And whatever the Creator has for you, you'll get. Whatever the
Yes,
Creator
sir.
doesn't want for you to get, it's okay. And
Mhm.
please, if you become destitute and lose everything you have, like Job, seek refuge in God. You know
Right.
what? It's where the individual that has billions, if they don't have Allah, God, or Yah, or Jesus, whatever God it is, you understand. You're the rich one. If you live at the bottom of Waka Dry, your village, you're the rich one. Because in the end, their money won't avail them anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So please, I'll give you to leave you. Damn, me and you could do another hour, but I ain't gonna do no other hour because I got to make my savats. But
Okay.
you know what? I thank you for, like I say, all praises due to Allah for you sharing the information, and I hope that the good things that came out of our mouths came from Allah, Yah, Jesus, whoever, whatever you want to say. But the bad things that I said that came out of my mouth came from myself. I mean, Allah forgive me for that. But I was striving to do what's right, what's good, and the people need to know that Channel 7, Channel 5, Fox Television, CNN, they don't really have the best interest of the people in mind. They're suppressing. They're suppressing because their power, digital powers that control what they can say to hold on to their livelihood.
Oh
And
yeah.
I don't
Oh
know how
yeah.
long we'll be able to do this on the internet, but they know what we're doing right now. But
Oh
one
yeah.
day they may censor, but they may not want to censor because they want to know what's going on. I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
But
truth makes you free.
yeah,
Concealment keeps you a slave.
Mm-hmm.
You see, and you were a slave to a dollar. You were a slave to a design, a fashion, a lifestyle. Instead of being free, being free means that you're able to express freely your ideals without fear of repercussion. But once you feel that you're going to get repercussion, then you look at your livelihood and this and that, oh, well, I can't say this, I can't do this. You know the truth, but you conceal it in order to keep the status quo.
Yeah, brother. I look at it, brother. If I lose everything, all my possessions, as long as I have to hold on to the ropes of Allah, God, yeah, you want to say Jesus to those Christians, I'm still rich. I'm still, and I believe that, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That we ready to do another show. But you know what, brother? But I do got to go make my slides.
Okay, cool. Hey, I mean, it's been great chopping it up with you. I always enjoy talking with you because we get a chance to share ideals, information, and get a basic understanding of who we are and what's going on in the world and what we can do to counteract all of this. Because we have the power. We have the power to do it, and it takes fearless people to step up. We're not here to destroy nothing, but we're here standing for the truth.
In one shot, listen to Club Shay Shay. Is what Monique, which is a comedian.
Yeah, I know Monique. Yeah, yeah.
You did a hell of an interview. A hell
Okay.
of it. She's a comedian. Club Shay Shay is a podcast. He ain't gonna get me no nothing. But you know what? But it was a damn good interview because he let us talk. He let
Right.
us talk and really, really. I understood Monique's really as a woman and the way she cared. I have a lot of respect for that sister, man.
Yeah.
So good.
She's the warrior.
Shannon
She's the
Sharp is
warrior.
the host of Club Shake Shake. And listen to him. It was a good interview. Cat Williams. He interviewed Cat Williams.
I saw that one.
And you know what? Listen to Club Shay Shay. Okay. All right.
Oh
There
yeah.
I go sharing again. But like I say, his blessings is his blessings. My blessings are my blessings.
Right, right.
All right. All right. I'm going to get on off and you better make these salad. Man, I'm talking like we talking in an automobile. Let me get
Yeah, we're gonna talk again. We're gonna talk again.
Inshallah.
I
I might not
appreciate.
make it upstairs, but that's okay. Because
Yes,
as
sir.
long as Allah knew my intentions and knew my heart, it's okay. And I got the opportunity to meet you and you people that listen. Thank you.
All right, my brother. We talk soon. All
All
right.
right.
Salam alaikum. Walaikum
Inshallah.
salam.
All right. So,
All right.
okay. So,
All right. Take care.
all right, you two brothers. So you're listening to the Underground Railroad. We do a television show that comes on every Saturday night at 10:30 p.m. Central Time. And we have a YouTube page. And visit our YouTube page. If you need video production done in Chicago, please, utilize our services. And you can buy a t-shirt at the bottom. Use vidIQ. You know what? This helps to grow the platform. And like again, I will get you hating on me is cool. Because you know what? I get what Allah, y'all. You want to say, Jesus, I get what God wants me to have. Whatever Allah doesn't want me to have, that's sufficient. That's sufficient. So I'm going to try to get the brother back to talk, inshallah, next week to talk about Iran and talk about other current news. And good afternoon, good morning, good night, whatever time you're listening to this broadcast. Okay. So words assalamu alaikum. And I'm not saying nothing bad. That means peace and blessings be upon you. And if I said that wrong, Allah forgive me. But it was a good time when I say assalamu alaikum. So may Allah bless, God bless everyone that took the time to listen. And I thank my guest. And I encourage you to have him on your show. Have him, if you do a television show, a radio show, or write an article, do blogs, you know what, because he has a wealth of knowledge. Okay. And knowledge is the only thing that's going to free you. You're not going to get it from China mainstream news, because each announcer that you watch, which there's their livelihood, they're protecting their livelihood, but so they're not going to tell you a lot of things. So assalamu alaikum. Till right, till I better got.